Hey guys, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from.
Exactly. Welcome to the
All
Things Mighty
Show.
Guys, we have one of our favorite people on the show today. She's amazing. She's so wise. She's so good. Dee, who do we have?
Our Mickey Mouse Club sister. She is way more than that. She's an artist development executive producer. She's a performance coach. She's a live action lyric video specialist. She's a songstress, and she has a beautiful, beautiful voice for both speaking and singing. Everyone, please welcome our dear Mickey Mouse Club sister, Jennifer McGill.
Hello, my sisters.
Oh, we love you so much.
I love you so much.
Love you, love you, love you so much.
We're so glad you are able to be here with us today. You look beautiful.
Yes,
Yay.
always.
Oh, stop. You know, I can get away with a lot on Zoom. I just have to look cute. Like,
girl, you always look cute.
Yeah, you do.
Zoom is a good, right? It's just like here, right?
Just be managed, minimalist management of.
Well, you know what? That's all people need to see. They don't need to see everything.
They don't need to see the sweatpants.
No.
The fluffy slippers.
My ill-managed toenail polish. No one needs to know about it.
Exactly. I'm so jealous because I did not get to see you both together at the recent reunion with the party. So how was that?
Oh my goodness. It was amazing.
Just in case some people who may be watching us who have no idea what our connection with, we are three now women who started the Disney Channel's new Mickey Mouse Club in the 90s. And
me and Dee were the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Dee and Jennifer starting in the 80s. And we've had this history together and just the Mickey Mouse Club in itself being history with Annette Funicello and then, coming on to our show and then just getting to do what we've gotten to do has been an incredible blessing. So those of you who aren't familiar, this is what we're talking about. And then the party, Dee was actually in a spin-off group that was part of the show as well. And so they got to come back together and have a 30-year reunion and had a blast. So I wish I could have been there.
Jen got up there and rocked the house as she does.
Of course.
As she does.
Yep.
She commands the audience. She blows.
My superpower.
Yeah.
My Care Bear stare.
Care Bear stare.
It is. It literally comes from the middle of me, and it's just
it comes out.
Oh,
I love that.
It's always so beautiful.
I missed all that.
I on purpose brought a witness to that event, my bestie from childhood, Summer. And Mylan, you'd remember Summer in general. She was always at our tapings. She would come
I do.
Like, when school was out every year. And so she's the only person in my life who's been there really since honestly the beginning of my life, but also like throughout all the things, including Mickey Mouse Club. So it was a treat for her to be there. And I'll tell you, every night she would unpack what happened from her perspective to me because I needed to hear it. Right. Yeah. Like basically she's like, you lit up when rehearsal began on Thursday. And it's true. I love live show. I apparently I am built for live performance on stage.
Apparently.
Like that is my favorite, that's my thing, I guess. And the moment that Albert threw a shoe at me, I was good to go. Because we all know that means you're fabulous. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Albert thinks I'm fabulous. So I was sold from that moment on. The fact that we were now fast friends again. Like it was just, and I start talking with Dee and Brandy and, really as our little small conversations started happening, I just started having revelations about how I wasn't alone in my kid thoughts when we were all on the show. Everybody had
Absolutely.
something. Everybody had something that was working on their minds as far as whether it was self-confidence or just questioning, like, am I doing all right? Like a lot of that, confidence. I'm starting to understand that I wasn't alone. Honestly, I am a duality about that show, but I really loved that job. It's still one of my favorite jobs I've ever done, obviously, because I grew up in that job, but I also was extremely insecure and tortured by it, like basically the whole time. And so, but seeing everybody, like that Thursday rehearsal was amazing for me. And then Friday was kind of crazy. But what I said, Dee, was that really whatever your vocabulary is about what happened, we are a ministry. Always in the Club is a ministry. It just is. But like from when one of us goes backstage, and like I made sure to go right backstage after Lindsay's show because I had to go MC the next thing. So, but I embraced her and I said, you were excellent. And we all know she's going through a lot, trying to get her show back on its feet with the loss of her father earlier this year.
Absolutely.
So much she had to work through. And what I wanted her to understand was that we were all with her. We breathed, cried, and laughed with her. And that's a ministry unto itself. The fact that we go to each other to comfort and to uplift each other. Like that was all happening all the time. And then just the way that we worked with the fans, and then seeing Dee up, like specifically Dee killing it on Saturday night. All of her moves. I'm like, she might as well be 16 again.
Oh
right?
my gosh, that's amazing.
And like they're all like doing their moves. And I know I'm seeing her boys see her. I only guessed for the first time like that. I only guessed, you know what I mean? And like to see you as the rock star that to all of us, you still are, like that to me, just tears, just all of the things, the whole, like I was a mess. I was exhausted. Exhausted. And I wasn't even doing the dance moves. I was exhausted. It was so good, Mylan. Everything was amazing.
I saw some of the footage and I was like, holy cow, they are kicking butt. I mean, Dee and I did like a little funny thing before she left. They were like, she's gonna be like, like I can't breathe. But I know she got up there and just danced her life off. Like you just did it.
We had like 3 days.
Right.
And everything just came together, thank God, everything just sort of came together.
Yeah.
And, as they say, the rest is history. We got on stage both times with MMC and then with the party, and it just kind of everything just came together as it was going to, and no matter what happened, we just went with it.
All of us through our lives, I feel like most of us feel like on stage that it's all just duct tape and crazy glue. Like we're never satisfied, and that's honestly because of where we came from. I mean, I know that. That's so true. But it's just we're our worst critic. That's, I don't think any one of us, I could ask across the board. We could interview everyone. Right. And I'm pretty sure that's how all of us would feel, that we're never satisfied with our performance. There's always more we could have done. But what happens when we get on stage is so magical. And I believe, at least, with the three of us, it really comes from that supernatural strength. There's this purpose, light in what we do. But again, I don't feel like that's an exclusive thing. I think all of us have that. I think we're all vessels for that really big love and strength and light that our fans gravitate towards. That's why they're our fans. That's why they're our fans.
Absolutely. There's video somewhere.
I actually want to see. Yeah, I want to see more. I want to see like the whole thing.
I don't think that me and Tony's duet ever has made it out yet.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
Look, and that is exactly the point. It was literally duct tape and super glue for me. I was backstage with my ears plugged for his first two songs, freaking out that I'm not going to remember the words.
You knew prior to that you were going to sing that song with him. No?
Like on the drive. I learned it on the drive to the reunion. I learned it in the car.
Kidding me? Wow.
And we rehearsed for like 15 minutes tops before, like right before. So my harmonizing and my muscle memory and knowing what he wants, like right before.
Okay.
Mylin, let me tell you, it was gorgeous. It was flawless. It was one of the highlights of
No,
the night.
that's amazing.
I'm not even kidding. It was beautiful. And your harmonies
Okay.
were on
I'm glad.
point. That's
Man.
professionalism right there.
Duct tape and
And
glue and crazy glue. Sometimes it is absolute torture for me. And I've been dealing with anxiety from performing ever since I was like
yes.
7.
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
it's been forever, but like nobody knows that that's how we manage things internally.
Right.
And we get out there and we do the thing. But I can't help. Like, I'm literally like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, stop singing, Tony. I'm trying to remember my words. Like, so tortured, right? And then you
Oh
get
my
out there and you're like,
gosh.
la, 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 it's fine.
It's just that, like you said, that muscle memory and just knowing, like, once you step on stage, you just, whatever
Just
comes out, you just go with it, make up the
tell it.
words. I mean,
Trust.
you know,
Yeah.
that's amazing, man. Hats off to you, because I would have been like, no,
That-
I can't
well,
do this. Like,
That's what it looked like inside.
yeah.
Thank
And
No, it
most
was great.
people, right? Most people think that just because we've done this for our whole lives, that we don't have that fear or that of getting
Yeah.
on stage. And just like you said, for me too, every time I have stepped on stage, I like want to vomit. It's so frightening for me.
Yeah.
But then once I get up there and everything, kicks in within the next minute, I'm like, okay, I'm here, but it's petrifying.
Jen, you said that you've been dealing with anxiety since you were 7, but I'm finding that I'm getting more and more anxious about performing as I get older. Almost as if when I was younger, it didn't even cross my mind I was just like, I'm living my life. I'm doing what I love. I'm having this opportunity to just, say that this is work, but I was having a blast doing it. I don't remember having as many nervous feelings like butterflies. I remember having like butterflies, healthy butterflies, I think. But as I'm getting older, I get so much more anxiety before performing.
Wow.
I don't know if that's the case with both of you, but that's just how it is for me. And that's what I've noticed.
I think that my anxiety has shifted over time. I think when believe it or not, when I was 7 or 8, I was stepping onto one of the pageant stages. It was a talent show. It was before I was 10. I remember that. And it's before Mickey Mouse Club. And I'm behind the curtains. And I just remember saying to myself, I'm going to remember this moment. I have butterflies, but they're not going to get the best of me, right? Like I'm going to remember this feeling. Somehow I told myself to remember. And honestly, I teach on that all the time, where it's, honestly, being brave and doing what we do, you have to get through the fear in order to be brave at all. And so like, it's great. It's a blessing, Dee, the moments that I felt uninhibited. And it's a blessing that for a lot of your time, you really could focus on the fun and the joy of the job. It is a blessing. Some people just go like, some people Damon Pampolina their lives.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, we got it. Like, we got it.
No fear, right?
And we got it. And it's great. And we got it. Right. Like, sure. I wasn't one of those people. I was very preparatory. I was very A-type creative, organized. Right. So everything was overanalyzed for me.
Wow. Yeah.
But equally, I loved my job. I loved performing. I did. So I would say that now some of the worry is, oh, am I losing the notes? Oh, am I going to remember everything? To me, it's more about keeping up what I love to do versus just in general, gosh, I don't want to screw up, which has always been the thing for me. I don't want to screw up. I just don't want to screw up. And I don't want to look bad. Like after about 12 years old, I was very inhibited. And it started with the way I looked and that, believe it or not, all of the pageants I used to be in, I never compared myself as far as my looks until I got to, first or second season of the Mickey Mouse Club. And then it was just like, but her and then that.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, I know it is. It's tough. And we did, like you mentioned, we did have a quick little conversation about that when we just reunited. As you mentioned, that we all experienced so many different things on the Mickey Mouse Club, and we were so young and innocent and unaware of everybody else's life around us. We were pretty much just focused on what we were doing individually. And then also, I don't remember being well knowledged enough to acknowledge other people's what other people were going through.
Right.
No, you're right. I was fairly oblivious to almost any other happenings that weren't on stage as far as our cast. I really was. I was younger. I was really out of the loop. There was a lot that I wasn't aware of. So I really was sort of left to my own, thoughts and ponderings.
What exactly happened when you were on the Mickey Mouse Club?
This is what I was sharing with Dee at this last Give Kids the World event. When I was about 12, production asked my mother and I to come into a meeting. They basically said, we're not saying that you need to lose weight, but we're saying, please don't gain any more weight. And I'm 12, and you guys with children know that 12 is literally in the middle of a lot of change, a lot of like, who knows which way you're going to expand first kind of change. Right. And when it all boiled down, I was actually in this phase before I got really tall. And so I was like a little cartoon rocket about to I'm squatting and I'm ready to boom, right? Nobody knew that. They just basically were, hanging my body out to be, talked about and all of this. Now, back then, diversity was a different thing. It was more about your ethnicity versus body shape and, what you want to put in there. And so in all fairness, I've come to this point now in my therapy and my development that I understand business and, you need to if the business is allowed to ask for what they want. But in all fairness, being 12 and with a mother who wasn't in the business and, being, I don't know, the early 90s where you can't just Google a nutrition plan or whatever, I don't think there was any help offered. It was just don't get any more weight.
Don't do it.
So we go home and we're and my mother, as you both know, sweetest, nicest, most accommodating type of lady. She never broke down in front of me. I can't imagine what she thought on her own. I can't imagine. Never talked about it in that light. Feeling helpless, really, because a lot of what I battle today, a lot of what I go through is genetics. There's a lot of, the way I battle food is still very similar to the way I used to battle it. And it's because when that seed was planted, and this goes for anybody of any age, this is kind of a broad statement. What I know now is that when that seed is planted, if you don't realize that something like that has been planted in you, it's going to grow. And part of what I didn't have the tools for at the time was ripping that untruth out that I attached to what they were saying, which was your value is less because of what you look like. I can barely see without crying right now. I mean, imagine so many children. I mean, I know that as we get older, it could be a little different, but most women I have ever met goes through that untruth, whether they know it's untrue or not. You are not as valuable if your looks are or are not. Whatever that is. And with show business, of course, it's a business of show. It's a business of show.
Right.
And I just didn't, my mother and I didn't know how to battle that when I was little. And so that seed grew and through, decades, I do speeches on this, decades and decades, going through, having a manager in LA for a record deal for that season, right before the bubblegum pop movement exploded. Yeah. I was up for a record deal. And then all of a sudden I'm too old and I'm too tall and I'm too smart and I'm too big. And, I got down to a size 8 at 21-ish years old for 5'7". And still in the same breath, my manager said, great, can you get down to a 7? And I was medically not doing great. I was medically right? And for that to be the case, you know, and that's without like, oh, can you get surgery? Oh, can you take drugs? Oh, can you date someone? We hadn't even gotten to that phase, right?
Right.
And so I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I did not get a record deal because I don't think I would have survived that world. I don't.
God knew.
I would have
Right.
let them kill me. I would have let them tell me what to put in my body and how to work my body and who to give my body to, and I would have died. I'm pretty sure. So I know it was the right choice for me, but I'm saying it's a very powerful untruth that you are not valuable if you don't look a certain way. And I still battle it today. It's, you know, because I let it go for so long, not understanding what that spiritual untruth, like what that can do to someone. And so when we talk about young people today, that's, you know, why I do the work that I do now, based on the concept of the artist development company I work for and any other clients that I work with. Like anybody I work with, I can't help but be a teacher and an influencer, encourager. I can't. Of course, it's because it's my mother's way, but it's also because I can't not breathe life into people because I'm so passionate about what I was lacking.
Yeah.
When I needed it back in the day.
You are influencing and mentoring and coaching and teaching. It's a beautiful blessing. And I feel like, you know, it's God turning something that wasn't so good into something good. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
you know,
process, and then he built me back up to help other people.
There's scripture that says that, you know, we are allowed to go through certain things in our life so that in return we can help others who might be going through it. And that's not verbatim, but it just, you know, reminds me just of all that you've gone through, that now you're able to take the heartache of that, but still you're like, you're living now, you're thriving because you have truth, you know that your value is not in your shape or your looks, or, you know, but your value is in your character and your heart, and that God loves you. Like that is your value, you know,
That's
and your self-worth. And I love that you, even though you went through that tough stuff, that you are now able to give that to other people, because we did not have that. You're right. I didn't have it as a kid. To tag on to the story of the body image stuff, you know, I remember after doing the Mickey Mouse Club and being in high school, and our school was doing these fashion shows, and this guy specifically had designed some clothes and asked me, you know, hey, would you model one of the dresses? And I tried it on, and you know, I felt really good about myself, right? And he was very fixated on the fact that my stomach was not flat, and basically said, I'm finding someone else to wear this dress, and kicked me out of the fashion show. Right?
Where's our yearbook? I gotta find this guy. No.
I won't name names. He knows who he is if he ever sees this.
Oh,
but
Lord.
He did not know what he was doing, you know, because he wanted his fashion, his stuff to excel on the stage. But I had a little pooch, you know, I mean, it was a normal body, and he wanted it to be like a twig. And so he took me off, and that stuck with me for a very long time. I mean, that hurt. Thankfully, one of my other friends was doing some other stuff, and he was like, here, throw this on, you're gonna look hot. And I even felt better. I felt better in what I ended up wearing. But it's rampant. It's rampant just how people don't
realize
words. Yeah. And that it can super duper affect you as a child and as a grown woman.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I had this fitting, like when I was in my New York days, and I guess in all fairness, I can't even remember this person's name. So be it. But I had won a contest. I had sung my butt off for a few months, and I won this contest where I get a gown designed just for me. And I had come off of this cruise ship time where I had been technically the most worky outie I'd ever been, except for the MMC reunion, the MMC 30. I could literally, like, if I duct taped Brandy to my wrists, I could have deadlifted her. Like literally, I could have done that. It would have been awesome. I felt very strong. Excuse me. I felt very strong. It was super fun to feel that way again, right? But like, so before all that, I had gone and I'd been really, really fit on this cruise ship job for a year. So I had kind of come off of that feeling great. And then I had lived a little while in New York City again. I had done this contest. And so this man is fitting me for this gown. And I had just casually mentioned, because I used to measure like my biceps or something on the ship. And I had been like, it's been a little while, but I remember like my measurements were kind of this or whatever. And he literally snickers. And he was just like, not anymore. And I'm like, expletive, like not really, but kind of, like where I was just like, I'm sorry, why'd you say? Like, and I didn't even stand up for myself, and I'm in my 30s, I think at that point,
Well, it's uncomfortable. I mean, the fact that someone actually like is unkind enough to verbalize that,
right?
Like without thinking that you're talking about me and my body. It's just people think that, especially when you're in the entertainment business, you're just kind of like, oh, throw on some clothes and, do whatever you got to do. But they're not, maybe they are now. I don't know. It's been so long since I've been out of the business. Maybe they're a little more thoughtful about people and their feelings and, what they're dealing with. And so I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference too between somebody who is intentionally trying to hurt somebody's feelings, and they know the words that are coming out of their mouth is going to trigger them in some way. Mm-hmm. And then there are people who say things just because that's what their thought was at that moment, and that's just what came out of their mouths, and they don't realize how hurtful their comments are and how the person who's receiving that comment, how they're going to take that and possibly carry it into the rest of their life,
Right.
Whereas that person who hurt, the person who was the hurter, doesn't even realize that they had that much power in their words. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And you know what? Bringing it all back around, that is in our power, right? It's really up to us, even though, I'm not putting pressure on people, but what I have found is that it is our reaction that makes it either stick or fall right off of us. And so that doesn't mean that if we react that we're weak or bad. Sometimes we haven't been trained to see it for what it is. Right. And that was the biggest issue. Even in my 30s, I hadn't worked through training myself to understand what this is and understand what I've named it evil. Basically what darkness, what evil likes to keep throwing at you, because evil knows what works.
To tear you down.
Like if you throw at me that I'm not adorable, I'm not going to believe you, because I'm adorable.
That's right.
I'm adorable, right? Like this is all fabulous. But yeah, like if
that's a truth. That's a truth.
Sure. Yeah. We can all get on board. No, but like that's the thing. It's like I'm confident where I'm confident. And so if we all really pick apart what triggers us, it's usually the stuff that we haven't gotten confident about that we might allow sticking to us.
Absolutely.
And so we can't control what people send to us, but we can control what we let stay close. And that's what I say all the time, just about hard thoughts or sad stuff or, anything you're afraid of. It's like, you're human. So understand and acknowledge what that is, that emotion. Just don't let it stay.
I love that.
Easier said than done, but yes. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I would tell kids. Don't let it stay. I feel like that's simple enough, to explain.
And it's a practice.
And it takes practice, right? Exactly. Yeah. Like, because with my daughter who's 9, she's very, very small and is already starting to say things like, am I big? Am I this? Am I that? And, my husband and I, we purposefully do not talk about comparison, body, nothing. We don't even talk about ourselves like, oh, I got a little lbs to lose. We don't, because we don't, we know that we don't want that to be her focus, but somehow it's crept in. And, we're constantly like, especially because we're Christians, and we tell her, look, God has made you exactly how you are. Your body, your shape is exactly how it's made, and it's beautiful and it's healthy, and you don't need to be this, you don't need to be that. And like, it's like, again, telling yourself the truth. We have to tell her that is not true. When she'll say, I feel this way, we'll have to say, is that a truth or is that a lie? And we are having to work through that with her at 9 years old.